All right, rounding out the week with the one and only Steve Greenfield. Just feels like the right person to round out the week. We're going to ask him about his predictions, see if we get a sneak peek, but we're also going to talk about what he said last year and whatever else comes up. I mean, the man was just in Kazakhstan 2 weeks ago. He's got to have something to say.
The man was in Kazakhstan. He's been all over the world this year. He's seeing a lot of stuff. You know what? It blows my mind. I asked Steve Greenfield, I was like, okay, who does your social posting? Nope, it's him.
That's crazy.
Who writes the weekly email? Nope, it's him. Who writes all your speech? Yep, it's him. Crazy. This man, I don't know if he actually sleeps. I don't know how you can with that many cats in your house.
I need him. He's probably, Steve actually has like the tree house, right? The cats live on the ground and he climbs up into his treehouse bunk bed to get away from the cats. Maybe. I don't know,
like
but Steve has always been an amazing friend of Asodu, and he always has such astute insights. And he's always got this boyish smirk about him. Like, oh, okay, I see what you're talking about there. Yeah, let's make a little trouble. So we hope you enjoyed this clip of Steve Greenfield, where we're going to try to get him to spill the tea on his 2025 predictions early. All right, there are a lot of smart people in the auto industry, but not many come close to the one and only Steve Greenfield, whether he's dealership consulting, speaking on stages from Dubai to Kazakhstan to Las Vegas, or shifting the mobility investment landscape with his automotive ventures. He's a one of one, we're going to call him, and he's joining us now. Steve, thanks so much for being here today.
You're far too kind, Paul. It's really good to catch up, and happy holidays.
Oh, man. It's so we've had definitely a wild year. You are always, by the way, if you don't get Steve's email, go to automotiveventures.com and sign up for it. You cover everything going on in the mobility space. Today you were talking about underwater drones, but you also have a lot of you were. But you also talk a lot about dealership operations and mostly about the technologies that are changing our industry. 2024 has been wild. What do you feel have been the most impactful things that have come out of 2024 so far?
Ooh, boy. Well, I mean,
there's a lot.
Yeah, I think the big thing at the beginning of the year was the threat of Amazon, this Hyundai relationship, and that's been a slow burn, right? I mean, we were expecting that by mid-year we'd have all the Hyundai stores on. Didn't happen. That by the end of the year they'd have like a bunch. I think they may have announced like 10 or 20 additional OEMs. Didn't happen. And so I mean, they had some growing pains, and just within the last week, they've announced that they're going to all 50 states or whatever with the Hyundai program. But it's been slower than ever. So that was going to be a disruptor, not really a big disruptor. We've heard a lot about AI. You guys are publishing your newsletter now on AI, which is really awesome and good for you for the benefit of the industry. Really getting their heads around. You guys are helping folks get their heads around what the implications might be. So thank you for that. And I think that's the big thing to be paying attention to. You and I have talked before about just the practicality around AI really augmenting your current employees, right? Just think of it as a co-pilot or a helper, increasing their IQ points and increasing their productivity. That's what we're going to see, I think, for the next 6 to 9 months. That'll be the buzzworthy thing at NAD, I think, in the next month, in New Orleans is really like how the existing vendors are starting to use AI within their tools to help dealers drive more productivity per employee.
There was a story yesterday that we covered. A fintech company named Klarna said that they actually hired 1,000 less people this year, 1,000 less because of AI. Basically, they went from 4,500. They let natural attrition of a tech company bring them down to 3,500. Didn't hire anyone to replace that. And they said they currently have AI agents doing the jobs of 700 humans when it comes to customer support. Do you think the customer support side is going to be the biggest player in the AI tech, or do you think it's going to be something else in the auto industry?
Well, look, apply this to auto, and I think that 10 years from now for sure, but we could bet a pizza on whether it's going to be in 5 years. But 10 years from now, we will look back at the BDC like the rotary phone.
Wow.
People will be like, no, really, at dealership operations, they'll be like, you allowed humans to be the first line of defense on leads.
How did you even do that? And you're like, well, we kind of did it.
Yeah, humans that can make errors and can be replicated, and you can have like the perfect robot answer every lead 24/7 perfectly every single time. Why would you have trusted that to a human? So just think this way, that if that's 10 years from now, what has to happen between now and then? Obviously the technology has to get better, and we have to be able to train the technology better, but there will be a bunch of roles at dealerships, where there are repetitive tasks in front of computer screens that we don't have to fire people, but when there's either turnover and or retirements, the dealers will have the option to say, one of the things I like to talk about, Paul, I've talked about before, is something like 60% of a dealer's monthly cost structure is human capital. And, the best way to drive profits to the bottom line is to do more work, more revenue with fewer people. I mean, it's a huge point of leverage for dealers to like slowly but surely take out human capital. The easy way to do it without firing people is just drive more productivity, right? Yeah. So to your point, we don't have to hire more people. We're generating more revenue, and our people are doing more work through automation, and they're obviously not smothering them and crushing them with the work. Their jobs are actually getting easier, yet we're driving more revenue. Over time, though, then you also start taking humans out, and you're getting more revenue, more productivity per salesperson, and you can take costs out. And dealers should be generating more profit over time as they look back and say, what has AI done for me?
Let's look ahead to 2025 across the board, not just in AI. Can we get a sneak peek maybe at some of your predictions? Because you always release, I know you release predictions, and then you grade yourself at the end of the year, at the beginning of next year, and then you put out new predictions. Can we get a sneak peek of any of your predictions for 2025?
I have to admit, I haven't worked on them, but this is good. I'll brainstorm on the spot here, so you'll see the work in progress. But no, look, I'll just talk about macro trends in general, right? So we are about to see, more M&A activity next year from really, really big companies than we've seen maybe in our lifetime.
Wow.
Because, think about big companies that say, look, while the government's looking the other way, and there's going to be almost zero scrutiny of anything anti-competitive, I'm gonna rush
Time to move.
I'm going to rush the gates, right? So if any big companies have been thinking about, bank mergers, pharmaceutical mergers, or whatever, I mean, now would be the window in the next 18 months to push them through. And once we see a couple of multi-billion-dollar, $100 billion, $200 billion deals happen, it's going to start giving people confidence. And I think then that will open up the IPO market, which, by the way, has been shut for a long time,
Absolutely.
Right? So I don't know what the stock market's going to do. It scares me a little bit when guys like Warren Buffett are amassing cash, and valuations that are all-time high. So I'm not going to try to call the market one way or another. That's an Aaron's game. But I think at the same time, I think that what we're going to see is big company M&A, which is going to then open up the floodgate for smaller company M&A. So you'll see a lot of automotive technology companies transacting, right? Probably not going IPO in the short term, but a lot of buy and sell activity. You'll be like, oh my goodness, people are buying companies left, right, and center. There'll be a lot of cash flowing around, which I think is good because there's a lot of pent up demand. So entrepreneurs who have been sitting for a long time waiting for an exit will finally have the window to do so. But don't be surprised if, in the next 18 months, you see a flurry of acquisitions by the big guys, the Coxes, the Reynolds, the CDKs, et cetera. But even some of those big companies, they may take the opportunity to monetize and go and exit as well.
Interesting. Well, Steve, as always, thanks for opening our minds a little bit. Always great conversation. Happy holidays to you and your family and all of your cats. And we look forward to an amazing 2025 together.
Paul, I'll just say thanks for everything you guys do for the industry. I really cherish the relationship, and have a great holiday.
Thank you.
All right, write them down, fam. That's what you get. Steve Greenfield said it, let it be so. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm paying attention. I'm turning the bell on that guy's social media profile, Absolutely. Right? On LinkedIn. I'm signing up for the weekly automotive news or automotive ventures email.
Sign up for that. It's unbelievable.
I'm coming to a SoduCon. I'm going to the events that he's hanging out with because he's just thinking about how industry partners, how dealers, how OEMs engage in the current retail climate. But he's also doing that for the future. So there he is.
There he is. Look, we hope you had an amazing Christmas week. We certainly had a great time spending it with you. Have a great weekend. We will see you here with just a couple days to go before New Year's.